Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We found ourselves a couple of guests for this morning, which is kind of odd because I think we went most of last week with only one guest. But we have OpticDecay with us this morning,
Hello.
and we have She Who Lurks.
Yeah.
And she stopped lurking and she came into the light up on stage here to hang out with us and see what the show was like. But
Apparently.
how is everybody in the chat today? We're looking kind of lively. We've got Lord Byron out there. We've got the Blood Sports News Network out there. We've got She Who Lurks, obviously, and we've got Optic, obviously. Lenugs came to visit us. I'm thinking he might need to reload real quick, depending on if it's coming through. Is Google Skynet very interesting? It could be. It could be. Give it a few more years. Who else? We got some bots. We got Lacey Ann. We got Saki the Real. We've got Vash Lancet. Lanquette. Is it French? Vange Laquet? Vash Laquet. Vash Laquet? That sounds right, doesn't it?
I kind of get the Lanchette.
Lanchette?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. It's always fun sometimes to learn how to say the new names, you know?
Well, whenever I pronounce anything that sounds French wrong, my wife yells at me. So
Lanquette.
she's not here.
Lancet.
Oh, okay.
Lancet.
There you go.
Okay. We can do that. Vash Lancet. Hey, at least we gave it the effort to try, too. I have this funny board I try to load up every show. I think I've roughly explained to you guys how we do it. No, maybe I didn't. I told you about the show. I didn't tell you about the board. We have a board. Aren't I great? I'm great. Let's show you guys a board.
You're doing better than I do.
Welcome to the Great Debate.
Alright, so this is the board. Now on the board there's 18 topics. Now, some of them are funny, some of them are dumb, some of them are, really interesting things to talk about. You never know what you're going to get. They're semi-categorized into easy and general and hot. But that doesn't always match up with what they actually come out to be, how people look at them and what we discuss. Under each of these categories, there's a statement or a question. And each person kind of has a different perspective, a different way they've gone through and lived their life. So they see things differently based on those encounters they've had. And this is about talking about the situation, about it from your point of view, from your encounters in life, how you see things, and your perspective is going to be different than others, which is why it's ideal to have two guests. That way there's going to be a few differences, but not so many that we're going to have too many arguments here.
Sounds good.
Sounds perfect to me.
Who would like to go first?
I will let the lady go first.
I was going to say the same thing.
I'm gonna go with general. What the fuck are for the win?
Thank you for subscribing. Let me read that little text. Let me look over Langcat. Thank you for subscribing, Bash. Alright. Does fear of the unknown keep us from breaking through the barriers we have on Earth?
Ooh. I think that's kind of a yes and no. Like a little bit of both. But I think for the most part, I don't think the fear of the unknown comes into most things. Like if you look at science and whatnot, it's a, hey, what's that? And so people go and try to figure things out just because they want to know. I think the curiosity overwhelms the fear.
Okay, but to what point? At this point, we have a lot of restrictions not allowing things because they cause harm or death. And we fear a lot of things will cause harm or death anymore, and that kind of holds us back in a lot of aspects.
Mm. Well, I mean, like things that we know will cause harm or death, that kind of thing. Then, certainly we should, not essentially. But I don't think, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you?
Optic, what do you think?
Well, you see, I kind of go off like the scientific aspect of it, where it's like, yeah, fear of the unknown. It's like I don't think that's really like a thing when you're dealing with sciences and stuff. But everything else, it's I don't know. It's a really, you see, it's one of those things where you get kind of stumped, but at the same time, I look at it like on the science side, it's like unknown is actually a really great thing because you get to actually do things, just like what she said. But does the fear of the unknown keep us from breaking through the...
It seems like when we go to travel places and do things, that there's the, okay, we're not so sure. Let's hold back and make sure we have enough
that's
information
exactly what I
to
do.
proceed.
I'm one of those people that like when I go into a new situation, I go into a new place, and I don't know what the hell's going on. I will take like a half hour at least to observe what's going on because I don't know what's going on at all. I'm like, this stuff's kind of spooky. So like if I go to like back in the day, I would go to like a club or something like that, and it would just be like, these people are really strange. It's like this bizarre rituals, and I'm just like watching these people. Because there is that fear of going in there and being a complete and utter embarrassment, like usual. But then I kind of got used to it, and I embraced being an embarrassment. So yeah, I don't know. I guess you get older, you just kind of lose the ability to care about it.
Yeah, we can look at California. They're recently starting to fear drinking coffee. Other things make us not cross certain barriers. Fearing what an outcome to a test could be causes us to maybe not do the test or put the test off. Fearing what the population thinks about a certain type of science makes it illegal in certain countries to do certain types of science. Is that going to hold us back? Is the fear of the unknown? What's going to happen if we try these things? Fearing them or thinking that bad things might happen. Does that hold us back?
I mean, for some people, yes, but for me personally, not really. I mean, yeah, there's the anxiety of not knowing that can get to you and eat at you for a while. Like, if you're doing business with someone and they don't contact you right away about something you need changed or whatever, like that can be very stressful. But it's not really going to keep me from doing things. It's just that I'll probably freak out for a weekend.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'll just be really, really weird for a weekend, and then like by like Monday they get back to me. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I've gone into places and I've felt so awkward that my immediate first impulse is, well, I feel really awkward. The only way to get over this is to be awkward, and I just start walking up to everybody. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm gonna be over here. I'll see you later. Hey, how you doing? Come over here. How you doing?
Comic
conventions. That guy's kinda nuts. But I'm remembered. It all depends on the environment you're in too.
Yeah.
How comfortable you feel. The more uncomfortable the feel, the more you're willing to make a mistake sometimes, or the less willing you are to make a mistake sometimes. But when you ignore the timer, by the way, when you get to making decisions about whether or not to proceed with tests and science and experiments and trying things out and trying to advance, the fears of the negative hold us back to some degree. The fears of what bad could happen. Now, obviously, people are going to take advantage, so the fears are justified. I'm not saying they're not, but sometimes those fears could hold us back.
Well, yeah, no, like I think like on an individual level, yeah, fear definitely holds people back, like individuals. I thought we were the question. The question seemed
you can apply it to anything. You can, on an individual, the fear of what happens when they walk out their front door applies, but to the fear of a company or an endeavor undertaking something, the fear of what they're going to have to go through to do that applies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, like for me, like personally, yeah, fear of the unknown fucks me up.
It's that whole. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've had a lot of stuff go on like this weekend. It was just like freaking out about everything. I ended up spending like the whole day in bed like yesterday, just kind of like upset at the world.
Yeah.
But then I woke up today and I'm just like, yeah, I got work to do.
I try to keep my mind busy, which is why in the wintertime doing this show is great. As summer comes, I got to get out there and work with my hands. I got to tire myself out. I got to beat myself to death, get this done, get that done, until everything's done, and then I'll move on to the next project and find something else to do. I got to stay active. I'm always in my mind questioning things, which is why this is fun. But I got to stay active, and the fear of doing certain things and what the repercussions is constantly sets in on my mind. Okay, if I do this, what's the outcome going to be? If I do this, what's the outcome going to be? And the fear of making the wrong decision sometimes holds me back, and I try to look at that and see what it is that does that. But you can apply it large scale, small scale.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think on the smaller scale is when fear of the unknown tends to hold individuals back, but I think less so on the large scale.
All right. Welcome, Frankie Nunyabis. And I think John Doe popped into chat there for a bit.
Yes, he did.
And Erg. Welcome, Erg. Ugh. Did I do that right? Ugh. Welcome. Ugh. Optic, it's your turn. Would you like to pick the next one from the board?
You know what? I think we'll go with an easy one. We'll go with the video games.
Interactive video games forcing action and mobility are a positive for children.
All right. See, this is where I have a little bit of a thing. Okay. Well, the interactive video games. Okay, I don't really think forcing things is really that good, because if you're gonna like force a kid to do something, they're not gonna like it. You know, like those the old edutainment titles where it's all like, oh, you got to learn math. Kids don't like to play that stuff, so you got to kind of trick them. But but it you know, it can be a positive. You know, with the hand-eye coordination. I mean, it helped me a great deal to where I have really, really good hand-eye coordination that I otherwise wouldn't have had if I didn't play video games. So it's like there are benefits for children, you know, in that respect. But like, when I see the forcing stuff, I don't know. People don't like to be forced into it. You have to kind of trick them, like Dance Dance Revolution. Trick them.
Yeah. We had the Wii, and my kids thought that jumping, or was it the Wii or was it the 360 Connect? I forget. We had a game that was Animal Adventure or something. They can go whitewater rafting together, and they just had to jump back and forth on their raft. And
yeah, that was Connect.
They thought it was great, and they loved playing it. But 20 minutes after they started, I'm too tired.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing, is like having those games that have like that activity attached to it. You know, it's like, you know, like the greatest example for me was always Dance Dance Revolution, because you're actually, there's a tactile board there with lights and the whole thing, and you just like when you're actually on the thing, it encourages you to do, you know, to move around and do all that, you know, all the stuff you need to do in the game. And I like that kind of stuff, and it does, you know, like it does engage people a lot more, and like the game that you said, you know, kind of helps. But it's like, if you do that and you apply that into like an educational sense, you know, or something where, you know, it's like, oh, we're doing like an activity, but you forget to make it fun. That's where I have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the white one, like that one with that was the Kinect thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know the Star Wars game for that sucked, but
I don't
but the
think
white
I
one
played the
was.
Star Wars one.
Oh well, actually, you might want to just for the laugh.
I've said this before, but I had for my Kinect on the 360, I had a tank game. I don't know if it works on the Kinect with the one yet, but you have to put a chair a few feet back from the Kinect, and you have to sit down in the chair. And when you stand up, you have to lift your arm up above you and then stand as you pull your arm backwards, and it opens the top. You stand up. When you sit down, you have to reach forward and pull levers down that aren't really there. It reads all your movement and everything, and it feels
Is that
like
Steel
you're
Battalion?
Actually... Yeah, was it Steel Battalion or Steel Battalion 2?
Oh, it was
Something
like the second one was the Kinect one. The first one was the one that had that big giant controller. I had the one with the big giant controller.
I had the second one that worked on the Kinect. You sat in a chair. It was freaking cool.
Yeah. You
Hard
never
to
played
play.
the one with the giant. Because the original one had this like massive like console kind of controller thing with like the two sticks, and it had like a million little switches on it.
Oh jeez.
Oh, it was sick. But I only played it like once, and then I just never played it again. But it was good when I played it.
I thought the one in the chair was good. I played it a few times, but because it had to read your movement, sometimes it couldn't tell every movement properly, and you'd be turning, and all of a sudden it would turn the other way real quick, and then you'd go, no, what did I do? I didn't move. What are you doing? Because the camera would glitch between your like hand and your elbow, and all of a sudden it would like flitch the other way, and then your elbow was where your hand was.
Oh no!
And the thing
See,
would just
I had the Wii. Yeah, I had the Wii going on, and it was like that was good. But in the place where I have like the games is like the smallest room in the house. So it's like you're trying to do all this motion control stuff and you do all this stuff, but you're like what, 5 feet away from the TV?
Smack the wall so you don't punch the TV.
It does not work. Oh, it does not work at all.
John Doe wonders where the dancing girls are. Who told you I had dancing girls? That's not this show. But we'll direct you to that show after this show if his link is available. What exactly is the bone game? Okay, so there's plenty of bone games going on in the chat. For every minute that you're here, you get a bone. You can gamble with the bone by throwing bones, or you can do a bone heist, as some people are doing. There's slowly becoming more and more as I learn how to use the bots. Also, the bots are smartasses. Feel free to tell them off. It's fun. They will respond.
See, I need bots on my gig.
This is my bots are my thing. Nobody has bots like me. If you get bots, I'll get more bots.
Well, we could have an arms race of bots.
Every chat I go into has like the Skullbot, or not Skullbot, the Nightbot that does their little thing and promotes links. If you want links, literally you just gotta type the link you want. If you want Twitter, you have to type tweet. It's the only odd one. All the other links, I think, missing one or two. If you just type Facebook, it'll give you some spiel and then give you a Facebook link. If you type Discord, it'll give you the link to Discord. I have the bot program to do that, but only upon request.
Well, that's kind of cool.
And then it just plays around and responds with you. So if you want my shit, you can get the links to my shit. If you don't ask for it, I'm not just going to shill it out the whole stream. The bots are there to fuck with you.
See, that's fun because you get to engage people with that. That's good. I like that.
I go back and add in more as I go. Sometimes I change them if I think they're boring or not, or if they're overused. I do my best. I try to have fun with it. Why not? It's a game show. I might as well have games in the chat. When there's two people talking with me, it's hard to cover everything in the chat. Like where John Doe says, Pokemon Go helped kids get outside and walk around. And the first comment I had in my head while you guys were talking was, yeah, and get hit by cars. Wasn't there like 5 large publicized incidents of kids getting hit by cars or hit by people or not paying attention and being in
or just
incidents.
straight up getting robbed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was I totally forgot about Pokemon Go, just like most people.
Pokemon, go to the polls.
Oh God, yeah, like, that was about the last time I was like, yeah, and then I forgot about it. But yeah, I mean, Pokemon Go was one of those things where it's like, yeah, like you did see a lot of people go. It's like it kind of weeded out the stupid people a little bit, because because they knew after they got hit by that car, if they lived, they know, hey, I know not to go in the street anymore.
I still want my Google Glass because I can multitask with something playing in front of me, and looking down at my phone distracts me from watching traffic coming.
Yeah, it sucks those things aren't available anymore, but I think you might be able to find them in a thrift shop somewhere.
But they were $1,500.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That was just too much. I could see 8, 9. Give me a pair of plastic glasses with a little tiny projector that focuses on the screen. $800-900.
You could make a device that that emulates the same thing and probably do it for under $200.
Oh yeah.
Just connect it to your normal glasses.
Connect it to my phone and make it overlay like OBS or something, and then I can see right through what's going on and have my movie overlay in the background disappear so I can see where I'm going.
Nice.
And then I can put my VR headset on and walk down the road with the phone sticking out the front. Creativity. We are back to She Who Lurks to pick the next topic. What are we going to talk about?
Let's go. Let's go with general again. The internet.
For porn. The purpose of the internet to expose more people to more information is now overcome with misleading information.
Well, yeah.
This
But
is
I think that's
subjective. Feel free to be subjective.
like I honestly kind of think it's a good thing that the internet is full of lies, because I think it helps. One, it helps you weed out among your peers who the morons are, and two, it encourages people to actually think for themselves and do the research and try and figure out what's actually true. Like, it's encouraging that critical thinking skill in people, having so much just misleading, lying crap everywhere. And I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. John Doe, I don't think there was ever an original purpose to the internet, but bear with how I made the statement. It was created to disagree with, so there.
Yeah. Wasn't it initially created to
It was initially created as a communication server for the military.
For researchers.
And then it was expanded upon for people to connect to and exchange research. And then people started learning how to be able to use it to send other information and different ways to communicate that information. And then the internet built and grew. Thank you, Bill Gates, for your bullshit and everybody else along the way.
And then when it got fast enough, they just like went, it's porn now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, John Doe, I just noticed he put the original purpose was for military communication.
Yeah.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah, which is what I was trying to. I was like, okay,
and then
military.
It went to colleges and government institutions were then allowed to use it. And then once colleges were allowed to use it, classes were begun to allowed to use it for, communicating their studies and research. And that's how that all began. It was originally supposedly a covert encrypted way to communicate government things across the United States back and forth through the phone lines.
Mm-hmm. Without using radio waves.
Yep.
Which probably included some misinformation in case someone intercepted it.
Yeah.
But at this point...
to me, it's always been misleading information.
Very true. I guess you could. There's always been a little bit of misleading information in there just to make sure it was all working right.
I've been on bulletin boards before.
It seems that we all know that there's information that's true and false, and it seems that they're making a huge effort these days to try and figure out what's true and what's false. And for no other reason than this happened on the internet, I want to toss this out there because I was watching a Liberty Hound clip from Fox News something or other, I forget who it was, and they brought up the college professor that stated that she was happy that Laura Bush died and wished that George would go next. And while the statement is hateful, apparently her tenure is up for review because of the statement, and everybody's yelling at her. Even Tommy Lahren said something which kind of awestruck me, and what got me was, under the open, loose definition of, free speech and what should be able to be said in America, she didn't threaten to cause harm or kill anybody or ask to or incite harm against anybody. She just said, I don't like these people because of these things. They should be dead anyways. That's an opinion to me. That is not hateful. That is not harm. That is maybe a hateful opinion, but it is not hate speech.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter if it was hate speech, because hate speech is free speech. It's legal.
Right.
It is
but it's being treated by both sides like it should never have been said. And I haven't heard an argument yet that's told everybody that she should have been able to say it.
That's
you see, like that kind of stuff is very ridiculous to me, because it's like people say all kinds of stuff, and it's like people. I mean, we live in an age where people lose their jobs over like just the stupidest thing, like. I mean, like, of course, like this lady with her having her tenure up for review and all that stuff. I just find that stuff very disgusting. Like, that's worse than the actual comments. Like, someone says something stupid. It used to be they said something stupid, you go, that person's an idiot, and you move on. Now it's, we got to ruin their career and make sure they can never get hired anywhere again.
Yeah, no, it's like, these two guys were quietly making dongle jokes.
Okay, hold on. There's two aspects to this that we have to look at, and we're still on the internet. We'll try to look at these quickly and move on. And I think only because this was a Twitter post. This was 2 Twitter posts she made. I'm for the free speech. She should be able to say it. The repercussions of what happens to her for saying it, that's market capitalism. Period. If you're dumb enough to say something stupid and people don't like it, they don't have to like you. That's how that goes. But when I heard the fact that she made this comment was criticized, that's what gets me. I'm looking at part of the whole thing, not the whole thing. I'm okay with the fact that she said it because it's free speech. I'm okay with the fact that people look at her negatively and her job might be up for review and things like that. That's fine because that's market capitalism. I'm not okay with saying this is something this woman should never have said. Well, no.
Yeah,
it's free speech. Let her say it.
See, that's where I draw it. Yeah, pretty much, because it's like you have the whole thing where it's like nobody's above criticism. So yeah, you can say what you want. And there are repercussions for things you say. I mean, I just don't think people should be like completely bombed out and losing their jobs, and having no prospects. But it's like it's really up to the job to do that. Like if they see it as a liability, then that's them. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, people shouldn't have their mistakes follow them to every job.
No, and I understand. Yeah. And I'm not saying she should lose her job, but you know, if her opinions are like that and they affect her teachings, being a teacher, then the school should review how she teaches things. If she doesn't teach any differently just because of her beliefs, then they don't need to get rid of her. Maybe have a talking to her, have her pay a small fine and warn her that, what you represent does represent us. Could you be a little more coherent for our sake?
Yeah. See, that I would agree with.
Yeah, same.
I catch certain things, certain ways things are wording, and when I catch people, they were literally trying to get this taken down. She should never have said this. She should remove this post. No, she said it. Let her say it. If she's going to say something stupid, she says something stupid. But she has the freedom to say that stupid thing and let everybody be mad at it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't need to take it down because it just shows her stupidity for everybody to look at.
So just put a big old signpost. I'm a dummy.
Yeah, and leave it there. Optic, what would you like to talk about next? You never know where it could go.
All right, yeah. You know, I'm not political at all, but I'm gonna go with politics.
Interesting. Let's try it out.
Hey, it might be interesting.
Can American citizens believe there is enough top secret information to make leaders change once in office? So is this to say that once you become a member in office, after you win your vote and you go through all the other bullshit, you get in office and this guy walks up to you and says, okay, this is what I got to tell you is going on. Do you think that there is enough information in that folder that little short man that's standing next to you is giving you that's going to make you change your mind about the things that you set to in office?
I mean, of
Yeah.
course. Like, you know, I mean, you're talking one of those situations where it's like you sit there, you know, you do this whole campaign, you're running on like this platform, and you're doing all, you know, like this kind of thing. And the second they get in there, they just go, "Yeah, that's not gonna happen, buddy." Because here's a whole list of stuff. You know, like yeah, this will get you assassinated. Like here's the alien photos. Here's all this stuff. Yeah, you're gonna have to like totally change it. So it's like you have a thing where it's like it's why a lot of these politicians kind of end up they run on a certain platform, then they all end up kind of doing the same thing. Because the second they get into office, someone just tells them, yeah, it's not gonna work, buddy. You're gonna have to do it, you know, this way. Something may happen.
Yeah, it's almost like they maybe get into office and it's here's where all the money really goes.
That, and they're gonna show you like different angles of the Kennedy assassination. They're just gonna go, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't get out of line. Got to make sure the banks get their bailouts.
Okay.
I don't know.
So,
yeah, I'm very weird with that. It's just like, yeah, I mean, I can understand in that situation. Yeah, I mean, like if I was put in that position, I'd be like, yeah, I might think twice.
I wanted to see what your open thoughts were before I apply this, because I think both of you, if I let you come up with a name, are going to come up with one.
Okay.
Are you? Do you know who I'm about to talk about?
I don't know. George W. Bush?
Trump. On his way
Trump?
into office, wanted to pull troops out of Syria and was about to pull troops out. And was getting ready to until all of a sudden a gas attack happens. And now we have to fight back the second time, contrary to everything he believed in. And I heard an argument made that there are things going on that not everybody knows. Okay, I'll go with that. There's got to be information that not everybody knows. But as time and technology progress, that amount of information is what they've managed to hide over time, not so much what happens on the immediate. And while they may have minor information like conversations and, you know, communications between people, maybe surveillance pictures that are highly focused on what they need to be on, how much more information can the government really have than the rest of us with cell phones that do most of what their computers do?
You see, that's why I look at like a lot of the disinformation that goes on, in the news media and how messed up the news media is. I think it's more of like a lot of it could be, a smokescreen for a lot of this kind of stuff. So that, yeah, the stuff might be sitting there in plain sight, but you wouldn't notice because there's like piles of just bullshit just laid out around it to where you know, a lot of people just won't do the due diligence to look through all that and understand what's actually going on about stuff.
And even if you do, there's so much out there sometimes. It's really hard to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, like that's why I lean like I'm not really political about stuff. It's like a lot of people who who I talk to, some of them are right leaning, some of them are left leaning, and I'm just like I'm not really like a guy who sits in the middle. I just think it's all kind of stupid. Yeah, like because there's all just degrees of just
point, I think
bullshit.
That is the middle. If everything around you looks stupid, you are in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I basically vote for who's not going to light my house on fire.
Good idea.
It's like if we can get past that and the body counts will be low, I'll vote for that person.
Yeah. That's pretty much how I'm just like you're not gonna try and regulate legally what goes on in my bedroom.
Yeah, that too.
Okay then.
they have what they need to focus on. They stretch a little far sometimes. Maybe sometimes for the right, sometimes for the wrong. Old laws are really stupid because people were just making laws that they thought were morally correct, which doesn't make for a good law. I have a hard time believing some of the stories, just to breeze over this, but there was the Syrian story about the gas attack. And then post us launching weapons, there's reporters coming out saying that interviewing doctors, it wasn't a gas attack, it was mostly smoke inhalation from bombing. One of the bombings apparently disturbed something, and a large amount of debris and smoke were stirred, and people were getting heavy smoke inhalation. So that versus a gas attack, you inhale the wrong smoke and you're gonna feel terrible. You're even gonna lose people if it's thick and clouded with like oil or toxic plastics and stuff that are burning. So they're saying that it was probably something like a smoke, and that people were just making it out to believe that it was a gas attack. So is that the truth? Isn't it the truth? There's no proof of a gas attack, but there's proof of smoke and bombing. So then when reporters come out and say that people deny that it was a gas attack, then you're a far left ideologue, just because you don't believe that the gas attack happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard where somebody just not seeing the logic in it, because I can't remember exactly. I haven't paid much attention to Assad, but it was something about it didn't make any sense for Assad to do it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you look at the logic of it, it's like it doesn't totally make sense that he would do it. But then there was also a gas attack thing that happened
last year.
It was last year. I thought it was like 2 years ago. You see where time goes.
I think it was like 13, 14 months ago. Maybe not even that long. But yeah, it seems like about 13, 14 months ago. I think it was April or May of last year.
But it was possible that may have been somewhat of an accident or something, or the other side threw some stuff in. But it's like you never totally know, and I think that's kind of the problem, because then you have people everybody's trying to drum up stuff on each side, and it's like, do you know all the facts yet?
Yeah,
and a lot of the time they don't.
So, with that, not to carry on too long on any one topic, even though some of them are interesting, fun, and deep, we're back at the board. We've got 4 down, which means it is She Who Lurks' turn to pick the next topic.
Let's go LGBTQ plus alphabet.
Oh boy.
Saying some men have periods is a way to cloud the truth that you need a uterus, a female organ, to menstruate.
Huh.
No.
What? Like, what did he just do to me? Oh my God! What are we doing to you? Oh.
See, this is the kind of thing that'll get you in trouble.
Bring it on. What do you guys got, though? I mean, I try to talk about different things all the time. I keep bringing up different arguments, things I see in the articles, things I see other people cover, but I try to question from different angles. And this one, well, you can see my angle at this one. This is straight out my opinion. of how I see what's happening, and just left it as a flat statement for discussion.
Yeah, you see, I'll give her a minute to gather herself because I think she's lost it.
Wait, what is it she lost? Hold on, we have to clarify. With the current topic, what is it she lost?
She's just laughing.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
All right. We will give you a moment to collect whatever it is you lost. However you need to do that. And we'll let Optic do this.
Okay. See, I look at things when I see things, like I see like a statement like that. I kind of go at it with multiple different ways because I try to understand things as to the best of my ability. But like like the whole saying some men have periods is a way, I think of it like, okay, so if they're men and they're having periods, either they're really bitchy men that just get, pissy randomly once a month, or it's it would be some kind of trans thing where it's someone who's like a like a female to man kind of thing, which I have no problem with. You do you. But it's one of those things where it's like that's the only way physically. If you're someone who like you haven't totally done all the hormones yet and you're just kind of heading towards that, you might have that going on, or just bitchy soy men like Will Wheaton. So I think that dude is just a walking period.
She's still laughing. Did you get everything put back?
Laughing.
Did I distract enough for you to gather something?
No, I don't know that it's necessarily like a means of trying to cloud the truth. I think they're just trying. I think when that statement is made, the some men have periods thing, is I think what's the attempt is anyway, like the intent is just to go trans men are men too, essentially.
Okay.
Which
Which you're correct. That is where the statement was made.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I know that's what the intent of the statement is. It's just I don't see that statement in itself as trying to cloud anything. I think the statement is typically made in an effort to go, yeah, trans people exist. Deal. And
You see, but where I go with it is just like I know they exist. I don't need any weird pithy platitudes to understand that they exist. I'm cool with them no matter what. So it's like, okay.
Like I think it's kind of a cringy statement to make, but and certainly some people in camps which do say things like some men have periods too. I think some people in those camps are trying to, obfuscate the whole, yes, there are two genders. Yeah, just two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and trans is a means to transition between them, and that's why people who think sitting in the middle is okay. I'm in the middle. I'm trans. I'm in the process of staying where I am.
Well, I mean, to me, I always looked at it as more like the actual physical thing, where it's like, okay, you have the dysphoria, whatever you want to call it, like that going on, and you want to make that decision to do that. There is always that in between part. It's like I don't know. It's a very confusing thing to me because I don't know that many, and the few that I've known have just it wasn't like a big deal. They just did it, and they were happy. So I don't know. I have a very skewed. I mean, I live in New York, so it's a very skewed perspective of just like, okay, you have some that that make it a big deal, and there's ones that don't. And I've only known the ones that they're just like, okay, I'm a man now.
New York, with or without the C.
Yeah.
New York, no, capital NY, with or without the C.
Well, a little of all of it.
Okay.
I'm like right outside of it.
Okay, so that's fair enough. So you get to see a little bit of what comes from the city as it gets pushed outwards.
Yeah, it's like
radiates
you get to see all kinds, and you just kind of you just like oh like you know, those are gay people, great. You know, like everyone's doing their own thing, and everyone's, you know, pretty much cool with whoever.
Which
Most of
is
the
nice.
time, yeah. I have to say,
Yeah.
I was in the city. At one point, we decided to take a shortcut through a few blocks, and one of the blocks we went through was a narrow alley, which was walk only, and this lady comes out of nowhere, hobbling from side to side as we're walking through, almost following us, but not like chasing us, just, you don't belong here! You need to get your white asses, as she's half falling over, out of the city. Well, okay. See you later.
Oh yeah. I mean, assholes exist.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just gonna happen. I mean, like one time, like I got like I got out of this like dopey goth club, and I was just kind of like I got really lost. I couldn't find my subway. And I was wandering, and I ended up seeing these, you know, like just a ton of bikers, and they all were looking at me like you know, kind of fucked up, because it was like, oh hey, it's a weird little goth boy, you know. At the time, I hadn't grown all the way yet, so they're looking at me, and then I'm like, I'm gonna get the absolute shit kicked out of me, and these dudes come over, and they were the nicest people. It was it was weird, because you know, they were kind of like Hell's Angels, you kind of like really super hardcore, you know, like dudes. Gay biker club, and it was awesome.
Oh no, that's even weird.
They helped me find my subway. You know, they were like the most helpful dudes ever. I'm like I love those guys. They're great.
Yeah. They're looking for something.
No, bikers in general are usually like
Yeah.
chill people.
Most people don't
Really?
know that because of the way they look and dress, but they're usually, as long as you don't piss them off or treat them like they're assholes for how they look, then
Don't touch the bike.
yeah,
Don't touch the bike.
What
Or
the
the
fuck do you think you're doing on my bike?
Touch neither the bike
Do you
nor
wanna
the
be
bitch
my
on.
new tire.
I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like you have all kinds of stuff in the city where, you know, where you're gonna see all kinds of people. That's why I like being where I am. I mean, it's expensive and it's stupid, you know, in that respect, but it's like you at least get to see all kinds of cultures and all you know, all types of people,
Yeah.
and not have all
I
that
prefer traveling.
yeah,
than
that horrible
expensive
division. Yeah, it's like I live here, and everyone just, you know, they all just kind of come to me. So
Okay, sometimes that's fun. But with that, let's move on to one final topic for today's show. And what would you like that to be, Optic? Rob? Whatever you want me to call you. I've been calling you Optic. I could have put Rob in there, I suppose. But yeah. Don't
well,
want
most people know OpticDecay. So
it. Yeah.
okay. It's like, do I go easy or do I go? But because the easy is not even easy.
It all depends. Like, it's just they're easier topics to talk about, but sometimes you get that curveball, and sometimes I throw that in the hard side too. I'll give you one of those questions that you get and you just can't stop laughing. Not like the last one, but more intended so.
You know, I'll go with general creator tips.
Creator tips. Know when to walk away, know when to run. It's important to walk away and remember it's still there when you come back.
Huh. Okay, I just got weirdly stumped. In what context?
Sometimes you have to walk away from what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Like when I get this a lot when I'm doing a comic, and like I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think of like what particular angle I'm doing a scene in, and you know, it's like you're kind of a director with a pencil, just going crazy trying to get this thing to look right. Very often.
This one. This is what I
very
do.
often if
I'll be making something, and I'll get so anxious what I'm trying to do and so encompassed in it that I'll get like shaky in the hands to the point where my hands don't cramp up, but I have to walk away because I'm trying so hard to move so quick that I just can't. Like,
oh, I get really angry at it, and I'm like just fuck this, and I get pissed, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just not gonna look at this for the rest of the day, and I walk away. I'll have something to eat, or I'll go play a game or something, and then I just start thinking about it. And I'm thinking about it for a while, and then I'm just like, okay, like a half hour later, I just go back to doing it, and sometimes it'll make me all mad all over again. But then, you know, other times it just kind of works out. It's just there is a really good amount of help that walking away does from stuff. Because I mean that's what saved a lot of projects for me. Because I would have quit so much shit if it wasn't for going, okay, you know what, this is pissing me off. I gotta go away for a little while.
creator tips is hard because how do you look at some of the stupid things you overcame to overcome them for somebody else? How do you recommend them? So continue. Somebody was picking this for a while over and over again, and how do you keep giving out new tips? So I had to really sit and think about, when I do things, what do I struggle with as a creator? And this is something you don't... Granted, I tried to make this one a little funny with the song lyrics at the beginning. But you don't always think about that a huge part of the work that you do is literally walking away from it because you have to.
Oh yeah, very very often. Yeah, it's like, you know, people think like, oh, like you draw so well and like you do all this stuff and you know, it's got to come real easy to you. And I'm like, no, it's a struggle every time. Everything I do always has to have a moment of me just getting annoyed with it and having to like leave for an hour or two. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I leave for a whole day and then I come back and I you know, like once I've gotten out of that funk that I got into. You know, then I come back and I'm like, all right, I could do this, and I figure it out.
Yeah, no, I tend to do the same thing. I get frustrated as hell, but I think my refractory period is a bit longer than yours. Which is to say, it'll take me a day or two to be able.
I've noticed that with a lot of people. Like I've always you know, given the advice to just, it's like, oh, stick with the thing, but no, you know, to like leave it for a little while and then come back, because more often than not, people that ask me like, oh, how do I do the things I do? You know, I always have to explain it, because they'll go, oh, I start doing it and it's immediately terrible. I get mad at it and I delete it. And I'm like, no, don't ever delete it.
Never.
Keep it around. Let it fester there for a while. Walk away, and just get your head out of what is making you frustrated with that thing at that time.
Or sometimes, like, depending on what you're working on, like if you're working on like lyrics or a script or something, sometimes it's just let it hang out in the back of your mind as you're doing other stuff for a few days.
I mean, this stuff makes me neurotic. You know, it's crazy, but it's like, you know, it's one of those things where like I always have to give. I'm like, even like this week, like this past week, at least 5 different people I had to do that whole, because they were just like, I get frustrated, I delete the stuff, and I get mad at it and I don't draw for 3 months, and I'm like, it's fine if you don't draw for 3 months. But you probably should just keep the stuff around, because you might have a really good idea later on, and then oops, I deleted it. You know, it's like you want to continue with the idea, like when you get it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some comics that I have half made like right now that are like months old, and every so often I'll just go back to them just to, you know, like, oh, I have an idea for something, and I'll mess with it a bit. You know, there's a benefit in doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
See, at first it sounded awkward, but you completely understood once you looked at the song lyric. Trying to be funny didn't work.
Well, it's one of those things where it's just like at first I'm like, because it's like, one, this is way too early in the day for me, but two, it's like I look at it, I'm like, all right, like I have to think for a minute. And I think that worked out. Like this has been fun.
You like that? That was my next question, not on the board, but how did you guys like that since you finally got on the show? Since you're both new guests, thank you for coming.
Oh, no problem.
How did you?
I mean, this is like one of those things where it's just like I only just heard about the show like 2 hours ago, and it was like oh that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
Very very cool.
Yeah, I like.
Believe it or not, it was She Who Lurks who said, "Weren't you gonna invite?" I think I invited you in a chat one time, and you said, "Sure, I'll get on there sometime."
Yeah, it definitely may have happened because like a lot of things if it's like during one of my streams, there's a lot of stuff going on, like mostly like behind the scenes where I'm trying to just like keep things running.
And if that happens at the first 5 minutes, then by the end of 2 hours, it's like, oh shit, even I forgot. So
yeah.
if I did, I forgot. But hey, I'll throw links to anybody who wants to try on the show. That's the point of the show, is to get new people in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll come back if I'm invited.
Absolutely. I don't even know what my summer schedule is going to be. I wanted to hold to Monday. I was doing 5 shows a week. We'll see what the weather looks like. Maybe this week I'll do 5 shows, and next week I'll switch to the slower schedule because I haven't made any decisions yet. But again, blue skies are just too tempting to be looking at through a window.
Mm.
I hear that.
So, after this show, and I make sure it's posted, I'm out there.
I'll be spending a whole summer basically just like, imprisoned in the studio. But I got a lot of work to do.
If I could justify running the show, if I could call it a job or a career or an investment in my time, then I would do more of them. If it had grown more over the winter, I would do more of them to justify an income for it. But there's not, and it is hard to grow. I want to keep the show going because I enjoy it. It is fun. Everybody I've had on has had fun, which means I think I'm in the right direction. So I'll take summer. This is what I'm going to do. I ran a poll and everything. Was kind of what I was going to do anyways. I'm probably just going to do 1 show a week, maybe 2 of these shows a week through the summer at convenient times that I can do regular. Hold a schedule like I have for the last few months. And then when the weather starts to get crappy, I'll start nailing down 3 to 5 shows a week and try to get new guests in again. But I do want to keep this going because I enjoy this. It keeps my mind moving. It keeps giving me new ideas. Keeps giving me people to say hello to. I've met some of my favorite creators playing this game because they actually came on to say hello.
Nice.
So this is fun for me, and it's a hobby for me. And I can't justify doing it any more than necessary. And necessary is for me to have fun once or twice a week. So that's what I intend to do. I don't know what the other times are going to be, but I know Mondays are for sure because it's my highest view rating in my last several weeks of analytics. Mondays are usually my highest. So I give my viewers what my viewers are after, and apparently they're after Mondays without knowing it. Thank you guys so much for coming to today's show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for asking me.
And with that, let's see what I can do about some final scenes. Make sure everybody hits whatever buttons they feel like hitting on the way out. And I will see you all later.